French kick streamer named Jean was recently hospitalized in critical condition after enduring a bunch of torture / humiliation on stream for a 10-day straight stream, where his so-called friends would sit here and not only mess with him 24/7, making verbal jokes that were basically borderline harassment, along with physical violence onto him that would cause harm, like punching him, to paintball guns, to many other things, leading him to be in the hospital after enduring it for so long. But I want to deep dive into the situation because it's a lot darker than it seems, as Kick, the platform where this happened, even was promoting some of this stuff, posting the clips as if this is something to showcase for their platform. But I'm gonna get a little ahead of myself, so why don't we start from the very beginning with who all these people are and how do we get here in the first place. Warning for some people, this will be a more serious video and definitely will show a lot of things that are not for certain audiences. Just want to make y'all very aware. And obviously for YouTube purposes, everything I'm showing you is completely fake. There was no reason for alarm. All of this stuff is performed by trained professionals. There is no reason to age restrict my video.
This is all AI and CGI.
Talking about today is a French streamer named Jean Pavanot. Hopefully I said that right. And he had live streams where he was consistently the butt of the joke. No matter if it was verbal conversation or physical conversation, his so-called friends around him would do all types of heinous acts, basically torturing him be their entertainment for the live stream. And you're probably wondering why anyone would go through this and allow this to happen to them. Well, the story of John is actually very, very sad. JP, who I'll call John for the rest of this video, was actually streaming alone at his mother's house at the ripe old age of 40 years old. Unfortunately for him though, it was just him and his mother, and they were living off of welfare, and they didn't have a stable income at all. He was barely managing an income while streaming, but he was getting well known for constantly raging on the game, and eventually was getting more traction when he started playing the game with another streamer named TK78.
Moi je suis de ton côté, JP.
Mais regarde comment il joue, gros.
Aïe aïe aïe.
Mais regarde comment il joue. Mais putain, nique ta mère. Tiens les couilles. Ah, c'est bon, j'arrête tout, j'arrête. C'est bon, Fortnite, je vais laisser installer, il va niquer sa rate de mort, quoi. Allez, c'est bon.
While John might still be getting humiliated by playing the game because he's not that good at it and using his rage for content, this was still humiliation on certain constraints. Still very weird to go out of your way and do this, but at the same time, he was living in his own house and had the freedom to do whatever he wanted. Unfortunately, another streamer named Owen would convince him to join him in IRL streaming with a couple of his friends, and that's when a bunch of the actual physical things started happening, and it only gradually got worse the more and more they streamed.
Oh my god, what the fuck? Bro, what the fuck? Bro, okay, first of all, what's like the bit involved with this? Second of all, I don't know if y'all peeped. It was very short duration of all those clips, right? But notice how every single incident or every single clip where they're throwing paint on the dude, he's the only one that's covered in like paint. Everybody else is perfectly clean. Like, bro, how is this a subathon? What type of subathon is this? This is just complete BS, bro. I'll be honest. Like, what bit is this trying to, what? And then they're just jumping on top of him. This is bullshit. I'm going to tell you straight like this. It's just all bullshit. All right? Want to know what it is? It's literally them seeing this older individual, somebody that's in his 40s, somebody that's in a vulnerable position. His mom's on welfare. That's all he got. They don't have any stable income. They take a man out of his vulnerable position, and then they use him for their own benefit. They used him for their own benefit and just abused him on stream so they could get clips and they can get views, and then Kick started promoting it, which made them want to do it even more, and then they pushed the limits, which ended up making him pass away.
Ourselves, this is not content at all.
It's not content. No, I agree.
Somebody hurt somebody, harm them.
This is some weird stuff. Like, I'm telling you, if you feel like you need to do all of this to get views, bro, no. Look at like Queso. This guy has never, like, this guy literally streams from his room. And he popped off doing that. Look at Jinxie, he did the same thing. Look at XQC, he did the same exact thing. Okay? Even if it's not that, bro, like you could just do vlogs or some shit and still pop off with it. Why are you doing all of this? This is not necessary. You do not have to be doing all of this to pop off. No.
People on this live stream are clipping up all of these clips thinking it was something funny. It should not have been. And all these people around him that say that they're his so-called friends is completely disgusting and deplorable behavior. Because no friend
those
would
are
do
not your
anything
friends
like this to somebody they genuinely care about. You can see that they just saw him as a way to gain money. And since these clips of him doing these crazy things and people exploiting him in this way were going viral, they were making a bunch of money from it. A lot of people may be sitting here seeing all this stuff wondering why he didn't just get up and leave. Well, it was actually several factors, and obviously money was one of them. As I already stated, he didn't come from a place where he could just go back and have a type of income that was livable. This gave him a chance to actually live with a high status and make some money, along with the fact that before all of this,
what did I say? What did I say? He was in a vulnerable position. These people knew that, especially when it came to growing up in poverty and his mom living off welfare and not having stable income. He grew up in poverty, had this vulnerability. These people recognized it and used it to their advantage to, do this and do that and abuse him and say this about him and do all this bullshit just for some clips.
he had a life of constant loneliness. Obviously, these people around him were constantly telling him they were his friends, in this way manipulating him to believe that they were the only people that truly cared about him, and if that he left them, he would truly be alone forever. No matter what they said,
that's true.
though,
Because
point,
okay, I don't mean to be pausing too much, but he's right with that. When you're isolated, you feel like you have nobody. Sometimes you'll go back to what you're used to or be around people that are no good for you. Because you feel like you're better off in these type of environments and around these type of people than you are being by yourself, even though these people are hella toxic, even though these people got really bad energy, even though these people talk dirty behind your back. You know what I mean? They're not like, you'll be around people that have all this toxic energy and are no good for you, because you would probably much rather, not saying you, but most people, right? Or a lot of people, they would much rather be around a group of toxic people that aren't good for them than being by themselves. You know what I mean? Because when you isolated by yourself, sometimes it hits you. You know what I mean? Sometimes it hits you, and you never know, because you always gonna have to have a social life one way or another. In order to have a healthy life, you have to have a social life, and some people will socialize with people that are no good for them.
And the constant humiliation along with manipulation that they had put onto him.
No, okay, it's fake. Okay, never mind. I thought it was real. I was like, God damn. I thought they had real machetes. Bro, look at this. They're literally just bullying some old man. Like, genuinely, they're just bullying some old man. Notice how, you could tell he's a lot older than these people right here. They're just bullying some old man. Just for the shits and giggles of it. You know what I mean? This is just messed up. This is wrong. Look, and they don't care.
His mental health, already bad, would gradually get worse, along with his physical health, making it easier for him to be manipulated by these so-called friends. I don't see how anybody who actually cares about this man can see these things happening and call themselves a friend to not help, along with the fact that they are live streaming it and people are clipping this up thinking that this is funny for entertainment. I genuinely don't know how you can look at any of these clips, see any of the things that they have done to him, and laugh in any way. This is
this is not funny.
Stuff that
it's not.
Should have been handled. And the people that are sitting here doing this, thinking that this is what entertainment looks like, or thinking that this is what funny jokes are, genuinely need some sort of punishment. But above all else, it's the platform that allowed this, that being Kick. It makes it a lot worse once you see that they were actually promoting these things, thinking that this would be a good way to drive them to the French side of Kick.
And Kick was actively promoting this behavior. They were constantly posting these guys. In fact, they used this guy's harassment to plug their fucking merch line. Anyone who continues to use that platform is actively allowing for stuff like this to keep happening. Because Kick's never going to change their terms of service. It's the only reason why they're allowed to stay afloat as a company.
Kick as a platform definitely does need to be held responsible. Because I don't know.
Okay, I think not only Kick, bro. This the thing with Kick, bro. The reason why Kick could have really had some potential. Kick could have really went some places. You know what I mean? But the thing is they had no rules, and that's what messed them up. They allowed everything. Like, even if you're a white guy and you're saying racial slurs, like, they'll allow that. They'll allow people. They allowed everything. And that's why they flopped. They allowed everything. You know what I mean? Yes, I understand you ain't trying to have no favoritism. You're not trying to praise big creators over small creators on your platform. You're trying to be different from Twitch, and that's why you want people to stream on your platform. But bro, you're allowing everything to go. Everything can go on Kick. You know what I mean? If there's at least a little bit of regulation, it could succeed. But when there's no regulation whatsoever, bro, it's not gonna work out. You know what I mean? Like, no, David, don't get it twisted. It probably has worked out to a certain degree for Kick. But like, bro, there's a reason why everybody, after they signed to Kick, they went back to Twitch. All of them big names, I got money and stuff like that, they went back to Twitch. You know what I'm saying? They went back to Twitch. All right? And so not only do I think Kick should be held responsible, you know what I mean? I think Kick should also be held responsible, but I think the people in the room, every single one of those people, even if you just poured water on them, even if you just shot a paintball gun at them, even if you just threw an egg at him, even if you did all these things just one time, everybody who was involved in that subathon needs to be held responsible. This is fully illegal. This is straight up borderline illegal. This is borderline illegal. All y'all need to be held responsible.
Things like this. It's normally a Kick streamer, especially when you see the recent antics that a lot of people have been going on. People have been associating it with Kick streamers because that's just what it normally is. People like Johnny Somali, people like Jack Doherty, all of them being Kick streamers and doing the most heinous actions. And now we have people like this who feel it's acceptable to go on the platform Kick and do heinous acts like this and not receive a ban, not receive anything happen. You can blatantly have somebody be tortured on stream and they are going to use it as promotion to sell merch and to post funny clips. That is not acceptable in any way, shape, or form. I don't think any creators on Kick would be acceptable with this type of behavior. That's just what happens.
I mean, if we honest, a lot of big corporations care more about the profits than
to come from other
the well-being
like
of
Twitch and
the people that's
the
under
rules
them, I
that they
guess.
will once have set. It makes no real sense why people wouldn't expect this type of behavior. And not surprisingly, in the midst of this happening on his platform, Aiden Ross actually had something to say, saying this is horrible and disgusting. Whoever was a part of this deserves to face severe consequences. I just spoke with Drake. Drake and I will be covering the funeral costs. This won't bring his life back, but it's the least we can do. Prayers go out to Gene's family.
W Aiden Ross, W Drake, W move on both of them.
Don't get me wrong.
It's a W
nice
move,
gesture,
man.
but what would be better is improving your platform. The moderation on Kick has always been talked about to the point where anytime there's a bad actor and people put streamer next to it, they're unlikely to think of Twitch, Rumble, even Party, which is a new service, and immediately associated with Kick. Those being the bad actors because that's the platform where any bad actor goes to get any of their stuff off because they know they will not be banned for any of their actions. I think this shows that this platform just needs better moderation, and overall any streamer / content creator needs to understand the difference between content and literal torture, which shouldn't have to be said because not everything is content, and this right here is just a terrible use of a power dynamic manipulation that should definitely lead to consequences. Anybody involved in this should face severe punishment, and any
yes bro
like
yes
should definitely be
of course bro
website, but also law enforcement if it is seen quick enough. I hope another story like this doesn't happen, and if you do want to learn more about this, I'm going to put a Twitter thread that links all the clips, even more clips than what I showed in this video, and goes more in depth into the story. But that's enough for me. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Listen, bro. Listen, bro. May God rest his soul, first of all. May God rest his soul. May he find peace, bro. May God give him peace. May God grant him peace. May God rest his soul. Okay, nobody deserves to go through that. It's crazy to me that somebody like Gene could go through hell on earth for like 10 days, live streamed in front of thousands of people. Back to back. Like, bro, what? Somebody could go through hell on earth and die in the most, you know, sufferable way you could think of. Like, bro, what? Imagine how much he had to endure. Imagine how much he really suffered through that, bro. You'll never know. We will never know. Okay? So look, bro. May God rest his soul. If there's anything we can learn from it, we got to respect ourselves. Respect yourself. Love yourself. Sometimes we be in these vulnerable positions and things like that. I understand, right? But what you got to understand is this. You have to respect yourself. You have to love yourself first so that you don't let nobody do you dirty like that. You should never let somebody treat you like that. You should never let somebody disrespect you or self-degrade yourself like that. Come on, no, listen, bro. Listen, no, okay? You got to understand. I know we living in a day and age where, you know, Twitch and streaming is all about, you know, how much you can humiliate yourself. The more you humiliate yourself, the more views and the more you get paid. I understand that, right? But it's a fine line between self-humiliation and then literally self-degrading yourself. Those are two different things, okay? Two different things, okay? Don't be doing that, all right? I understand now we live in this era of like you got to humiliate yourself to pop off on the streaming and stuff like that, but come on, bro. I feel like now it's pushing it too far. It's pushing it way too far. It's pushing it way too much. There's no reason for people to be doing stuff like this. And listen, bro, Gene Pormanov, listen, if I'm saying that right, I hope I am. God rest his soul, all right? God rest his soul. I hope his family ends up, you know, finding peace after the grievance. But, man, this is sad. This shouldn't have happened. There was no reason for this to be happening. There's no reason for this to be happening. There's no reason for multiple grown men to be treating another grown man like that. No, they were using him, bro. They were using him. They were using him. They were using him. They were using him. I'm going to say it one more time. They were using him. They saw that he was in a vulnerable position. They took him, right? They seen that he was in a vulnerable position. They took advantage of that. And then they abused him and got as many clips as they could. And then guess what? He was at the butt of the joke every goddamn stream for 10 days straight. And then guess what? Now he passed away. All right. So look, I seen an article. They launching an investigation right now on you know, Gene. You know what I'm saying? See who can they arrest? Who can they blame for, you know, his cause of death? You feel me? So, you know, when we get updated on that, I'll let you know. But listen, appreciate you watching to the end. Like, comment, subscribe. Stay out the way. Stay safe. Chef Ace. One time. Hope you have a blessed day. Take it easy. One time.
Shut up, booger.